everybody and welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a realistic what I read in a week. I thought this would be fun to do now because I am on break from school, so I do have a little bit more time to actually sit down and read. So I'm hoping to, within the next week, get a lot of reading done, whether it be through audiobook, physical book, ebook. I'm just hoping to get a lot of reading done. I'm going to take you through what I'm reading each day. I'm going to do my best to just really dive into each of these books and to be present. I have deleted like pretty much all social media off my phone, so it does give me more time to read because I'm not scrolling. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing like any positive outcomes. Before I actually get into it, it's Saturday, so I want to share some updates about where I'm starting this video, what I've read so far today, and any progress that I've had. So I've been trying to get through these Infinite Fates by Tahereh Mafi for probably around 2 weeks now. I was just struggling so much to get into it for some reason. Then last night I saw that it was on Hoopla, so I borrowed the audiobook and I was able to get through, I think, 4 hours of it yesterday, and then I had 1 hour left to listen to this morning. So I finished this morning. I don't know like where exactly I was at when I finished it. All I know is that I had an hour left of the audiobook. This is the second book in this Woven Kingdom series. I don't know how many books there's going to be. So far there's 4, and I think there's another book coming out after that. But this is a YA fantasy. It has Persian inspiration. There's Jin, and you're following Eliza, who is a long lost queen. She really has no desire to take up her throne. She just wants to live a normal life and live a peaceful life. But you quickly see that this is kind of getting all thrown together. There is a forbidden romance, but in the first book, there's not even a ton of romance. And I actually enjoyed the first one quite a bit. I would think I gave it around 4 to 4.25 stars, but this one I struggled a lot with. Thank goodness for the audiobook, because I think otherwise I would have just been struggling through. I think that this one was still good, like writing wise, but I just think that there was a problem with the pacing. This whole story, like this is like a 400-page book, takes place over the span of 2 days, okay? 2 days. What happens in those 2 days? Not much. Not much at all. Of course, there are some things that are happening. There are some very big things that happen. However, it was still like way too long, or at least like just pacing wise and the timeline, I don't think worked very well because I was struggling. And there was one character that really made it worth it to like actually push through. But you're following 2 points of views in this book, and one of them I really just struggled through. Like I kind of dreaded every time that this character's point of view came up because I just didn't really care. I didn't like feel any pull towards it. So I do feel bad. I think I would give it around 3.25 stars because I still did enjoy the story. And I think that the story has promise, but I don't think that this will maybe be like my favorite book of the series just because the pacing was so difficult for me to get through. I really enjoy Eliza as, or in the audiobook they say Eliza, so I'm not sure which pronunciation it is. I'll just say Eliza because that's how I say it in my head when I'm reading it. But I really like her as a main character. She's very compassionate, she's very soft, but she also has a lot of strength. And I think it's just really enjoyable to read about her, and I'm really excited to continue on her journey and to see like her maybe potential rise to power. But the other thing with this book, as I was reading it, I had no idea where it was going to go or where it was going to end. And you almost feel like you're expecting something more interesting to happen at the end. But even then, like the final like reveal or like the conclusion to the story just felt a little bit anticlimactic. I'm not sure. I still am excited to continue the series, and I, as you will see, am continuing the series. I've already started it, but I just don't think that this was my favorite of the series. I'm sure there'll probably be other ones that I enjoy more, and I probably even enjoyed the first one more than this one. So that was these Infinite Fates by Tahereh Mafi. Then I also started the third book in the series, which is All This Twisted Glory. I think that this cover is so beautiful. I think all the covers are so beautiful. And so far I am 86 pages in. I'm partway through chapter 9, and that is around 2 hours and 25 minutes into the audiobook. That's how I'm listening to this, or at least consuming this for now. But I might consider listening and then following along in this, just because I did that a little bit last night when I was reading these Infinite Threads and I enjoyed that format of it. So I might continue doing it with this. So far, you're picking up exactly where that one left off. And I am interested to see and learn more about some of the characters in this story. And I am enjoying like the little group that's kind of forming of like our side characters and the main characters. I'm excited to see where it continues. But again, I really have no idea what's going on. Like, I see that, you know, there is a overall like forming mission that you're on, but I'm not sure what the end goal actually is. So we'll see. Like, I know what the end goal is, or at least like the aspects of the end goal, but what is actually going to happen, not sure. So yeah, you're just following Eliza, you're following our other prince named Cameron. Those are the 2 point of views. There also is a 3rd point of view in this one now. So excited for that, looking forward to that. That is where I'm at right now. And then I also have 2 other prospective books that I want to talk about real quick. I'm going to be starting The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. This is a buddy read with my mom. We picked this up at Half Price Books. I really don't know anything about this. I did say that I was watching someone's wrap up, or at least like their least favorite books of the year, and this was in that video, so I am not sure. But I'm going to be starting this. My mom already started, so I need to catch up to where she is at. I don't know how far she is, but we'll see. So I need to either start this today or tomorrow. Maybe I'll get the audiobook, because audiobooks, I just feel like I'm so busy. Then I also want to start eventually Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. I think this is a YA horror, like fantasy. I don't know if it's horror. It says high school senior Andrew Perrault finds refuge in the twisted fairy tales that he writes for the only person who can ground him to reality, Thomas Rye, the boy with perpetually ink-stained hands and hair like autumn leaves, and his twin sister, Dove, inexplicably keeping him at a cold distance upon their return to Wickwood Academy. Andrew finds himself leaning on his friend even more. But something strange is going on with Thomas. His abusive parents have mysteriously vanished, and he arrives at school with blood on his sleeve. Thomas won't say a word about it and shuts down whenever Andrew tries to ask him questions. Stranger still, Thomas is haunted by something, and he seems to have lost interest in his artwork. Whimsically macabre sketches of the monsters from Andrew's wicked stories. Desperate to figure out what's wrong with his friend, Andrew follows Thomas into the off-limits forest one night and catches him fighting a nightmarish monster. Thomas's drawings have come to life and are killing anyone close to him. To make sure no one else dies, the boys battle the monsters every night. But as their obsession with each other grows stronger, so do the monsters, and Andrew begins to fear that the only way to stop the creatures might be to destroy their creator. Pretty interesting, a little spooky, but I think it's something different, and I'm wanting something a little bit different from like what I normally read, like either fantasy or romance, and this is like still kind of fantasy, but it's more like a spooky fantasy. Either that, or I have some other books on there. I have Project Hail Mary, which is different. I also have The Will of the Many, but that is very thick. I don't think I want to read that right now. So either starting this or Project Hail Mary, I'm not sure. That's what I'm interested in doing. I'm not sure where this week will take me. I'm going to continue listening to all this Twisted Glory, and I might even start reading The Light We Lost. So not sure which one, but I will keep you guys updated, and I'll see you guys later tonight, tomorrow, whenever. I'll see you guys. As I'm reading this, it's sort of odd because she's writing it like 13, right? 13? Well, I don't know how many years after the fact, but she's writing it as like a letter or like story about the person. So like she's Lucy, who our main character, is describing the first day they met, but then it's you said. So she's saying like talking for Gabe, who's the male main character. So she's like, this is just like an example. I saw something blossom in your face then. I wasn't sure what it meant. I hadn't learned you well enough yet. But now I know that look. It means perspectives are shifting in your mind. You dipped a chip in the salsa and held it out to me. Bite? You asked? So it's taking me a minute to get used to because I'm not really like used to that type of writing where it's like rather than just saying, you know, she's writing it and I'm reading what she wrote to this man. So a little interesting, a little different. Hi everybody and happy Sunday. I have some updates for how much I read last night and then how much I read today so far. So last night I sat down and I read to page 74 in The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. That's where my mom got to, so I just caught up to where she was at. So far, I think I don't really have like too many thoughts. You are following our main female character, Lucy, as she recounts the story of her meeting Gabe, who is kind of depicted as like her one true love or like her person that she's always going to come back to. And she is recounting the story as she's like writing to Gabe. So she's telling you this, but she's more so telling him, but you're reading it, you know, as the reader. So she, rather than saying Gabe said or Gabe asked me, it's like you asked me or you said. So a little bit interesting, a little bit different. I, so far, don't really like Gabe. Sorry. I don't really like him. And this has how many pages? 321. I'm probably around a fourth of the way through, but I think it is a little bit odd. Like, I don't think it's odd, but I think it's just interesting choices that she's making. Like they met on 9/11, like the actual 9/11, like, and they're in New York when the towers are falling, and it's like, okay, like that's an interesting choice. And then like, I don't like Gabe. Like she's talking about him almost like she has this fondness of him, but yet she's able to realize that maybe some of his actions weren't the best or maybe were a little bit shady, but she still is talking about him as if she is like actively in love with him almost, or not actively in love with him, but this very strong fondness of him. So I guess the whole book is written in this, I'm trying to see if this whole book is written in this format where like she's writing this letter or this story to Gabe and he's the intended audience of it, which I think it is. I don't know, I might read a little bit more of it today. We'll see. I really was not planning on reading that much of it last night, but then my mom was like, oh, I read two, and then the chapters are in Roman numerals, so I'm like, what chapter is that? So I had to like, thought I found it, and I was like, okay, 40 pages, and I'm like, no, actually, that's not the right one. It was 70 pages, so we'll see. Maybe I'll read a little bit more of that. Then last night, as I was cleaning up, eating dessert, getting ready for bed and everything, and then when I got into bed, I was listening to All This Twisted Glory by Tahereh Mafi. I got to 55% of the way through the audiobook, and that is around page 217 of the physical book. Just listening to it a lot last night. I'm actually surprised how much I got through it yesterday. This morning, as I was getting ready, walking my dog, I was listening to the audiobook again. And then now I am 78% of the way through the book. So I'm on chapter 25, which is page 310. I have 2 hours and 34 minutes left of the audiobook. So I really don't have that much left of the book. I think I'm going to sit down and just listen to it and maybe follow along in the book. I've been playing some games as I have been listening to it. So maybe I'll sit and play those. But yeah, so far I think I'm definitely enjoying this one more just because you see, like I think the band of characters that she has brought together are quite comedic at times, and so it just makes it a little bit more enjoyable to read about, especially because I really do enjoy the side characters, and there is more emphasis on the side characters in this, at least in the sense of our main characters are around them a lot more. So I'm definitely enjoying that aspect because I think they're a funny group. Also, what has happened in this book, like not a ton has happened. Like, yes, you're learning more, but it's not like a whole bunch of, for this journey that is the characters are supposed to be going on and like, you know, potentially trying to reclaim her kingdom, reclaim her throne. The moves that are occurring to get there and get her magic feel very slow moving. So I'm interested to see how this story ends off. I'm not sure if it will be a cliffhanger or what. I'm not really sure. So we'll see. I am enjoying the series, but it's just one that's like, is it character driven, I guess? Like there's not a lot, I mean, there's plot. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. That's all I really have to say. This is where I'm at so far today. I'll probably read a little bit more of this eventually, and then I'm going to try to sit and finish this right now. Well guys, it is later, and as I was coloring, let me show you what I've colored. I made Glinda, like it's not actually Glinda, but like I colored her to be Glinda. Ariana's Glinda. Then I made Elphaba too. And as I was doing that, I finished listening to All of This Twisted Glory by Tahereh Mafi. I enjoyed this one definitely more than the second one, but I do still think that the first one has been my favorite of the series. But in this one, I really did enjoy getting to see the kind of trio of like friends that are emerging. I just really enjoy that aspect of getting to see those characters. Of course, I enjoy Cyrus as a character as well. He definitely adds some more like interest to the story. I think his storyline is the most interesting to me. And while yes, I obviously like Eliza or Eliza and think her story is interesting, I like the mystery aspect that is surrounding Cyrus's story, because there is so much that you don't know, and you're slowly throughout like these 3 books, well, throughout the second and third one now, have been uncovering more and more about his story. So I definitely think that that is really interesting to learn about, and I want to learn more about it. And the ending, I think, really was interesting. I'm very, very interested to see how this arrangement is going to play out, because I'm nervous. Well, I'm not nervous, but I'm more so just like, oh, like this is pretty interesting. And I like this kind of, this thing that is happening. It's like an added like forced proximity almost. So yeah, I'm really, really interested to see how it's going to continue. Finish this. I'm already 2 books in this video. Well, kind of 2 books. I finished one yesterday that I was almost done with, and then started and finished this one, which I really honestly was not expecting to finish this so quickly. But hey, deleting all social media, what other option do I have besides read? So I thankfully was able to get the next book through the library. I have the physical copy, but audiobooks are just my favorite thing right now. I'm enjoying like playing a game or coloring and listening to the books as I'm doing other stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that for now. I have a couple books on my Kindle that I'm pretty interested in. I have romance on there, and then I think a like dark academia, maybe romance as well. So we'll see, but I think I'm going to start Every Spiral of Fate next. Let me get it real quick. Yeah, I'm so excited to start this. I'm so interested to see what's going to happen in this one, especially because it alludes to finding more out about Cyrus. I'm just really interested to see what's going to happen next. So I'm going to probably start listening to this right now. And then my only complaint about this series is that there's no map. I really want a map sometimes to just like visualize where they're at. But hey, I would give this like a 3.5 to 3.75 probably is what I would rate that. And I think these colors together are stunning, and the second one as well, but these are so pretty. Hi guys, and it's Wednesday. I have been so bad about updating, but let me give you a little explanation as to where I've been. So Monday, I really did not read anything. I listened to a little bit of the audiobook of Every Spiral of Fate, but I really didn't listen much. I went to my friend's house to give her her birthday gift and I did not feel well at all. So I did not read anything that day besides like what I came home and listened to a little bit of the audiobook. Even Tuesday, or yesterday, I really didn't read a ton either. I feel like the beginning of the week is a little bit more hectic for me. And so because I wasn't home much on Monday, I had a lot of cleaning up to do. So I just focused on that. And then today, I didn't read a ton this morning, but I was able to get through the rest of Every Spiral of Fate by Tahereh Mafi. I think this morning I was around halfway through this. So I listened to the other half, which was pretty good progress for me. I did my coloring, I did a lot of coloring, and then I started making dinner, still listening, and then finished as I was eating. So let me tell you my thoughts about this, because I think my thoughts for the series are a little bit complicated. I don't always read books in a series back to back. I normally have a little bit of a book that I'll read in between just to kind of break things up, because I think I know why now, why I always do that, because this whole series feels like one book in my mind, and I really can't tell you like what one thing happened in like the second book compared to the third book. I might like have a little bit of trouble remembering like which book it happened in. But I think that overall in this book, I really enjoyed this Woven Kingdom. But I think this series just progressively went a little bit downhill in my opinion. I feel like everything just became so drawn out. And maybe the middle two books, like book 2 and 3, could have been condensed into one book. It just felt like a lot of nothing at times. And like, I think I enjoyed getting to see the side characters, which I was reading reviews and a lot of people actually did not like the side characters as much, but I really enjoyed like Omid, Huda, and Hazan. But there is one character in this book that I wasn't even like the hugest fan of in the first place, and I didn't even really enjoy reading his chapters in the second book, but I think I don't like the way she took his character in this book. I felt like it didn't flow well, and I think maybe that is due to the pacing. I think the pacing and some things were super drawn out and then some things weren't. That some things felt abrupt, some things felt like they went on way too long. It just felt like a lot of nothing at times. So I think that's what I struggled with throughout like maybe books 2 through 4 in this series. I think the concept and the concepts of the story, super great, but I just don't think I'm loving the execution of how they're going about like everything happening. And even the end, just the way that book ended off felt a little bit more abrupt as well. I also just feel like you set these characters up for a love story, and then in this book, when like arguably there should have been the most longing, yearning, it felt like it was lacking, or like the characters were never together. So I don't know. So I do need to catch up to my mom in The Light We Lost. I am on page 92. I don't know where she got to. The chapter numbers are also in Roman numerals, which are not my forte. XXXVIII. So she read to page 134. I'll probably catch up to her now, so let me sit and read, and then I'll probably go to bed and find another audiobook to listen to. But maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just take a break because that's what I feel like I need right now, a break. You know, I think I just forgot to start clicking record. I just was talking to the camera for a while. So, hello, happy Thursday. I will try to remember everything I just said. I really have not read a bunch today. I was pretty busy throughout the day and then at work, and then I had to run some errands after work. So yesterday I was able to get to page 134 of The Light We Lost. I'm caught up to where my mom is at, so I might read a little bit more of that today if I have time. And then last night when I was about to go to bed, I started reading Say It Out Loud by Ashley Schumacher. I got this through the library. It was just a random romance book I picked that seemed a little bit interesting. They very briefly met in college. She knew who he was. He did not know who she was. and they met just like in passing or when he was a lead in a play and she was a crew or like crew member. And flash forward, I don't know how many years, probably a lot, they are about to be dual leads of a audiobook. So I was getting a little bit frustrated earlier when I was reading it because you see that she has this very, very big preconceived notion of what she wants or what she thinks her late mother would be thinking about her life. And I can see that it's going to be a big plot point, or at least a big lesson that this main female character will have to go through. But I was just getting a little bit frustrated, so I stopped reading that earlier throughout the day, and then I got the ebook of Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews through the library. But then as I was reading, I just think I was a little bit tired, and I was reading and it felt like I was reading gibberish. So I was just like, let me stop so at least I'm more conscious of what's going on. I really only got to page 11. I got to chapter 2. So I will definitely keep reading this, but I don't think it's a book that I'm going to read like before I go to bed or at night because it's YA, but it's a psychological horror. So I don't think I want to think about that before I go to bed. So I'm not really listening to an audiobook right now. I'll definitely be continuing this one for sure, mostly because I'm reading it. At this point, I'm like just really irritated with the main female character. I think she's crazy. I think the main male character is a jerk. And I think the main female character is insane. Like, I don't know if I want to read this. Like, she is dating somebody else, and then the main male character texts her after not seeing her for a very long time and asks to meet up. And as she is, like, meeting up with him and catching up with him, she wants him to make a move on her. And, like, and then saying that, like, she realizes that the guy she's currently dating is probably worried and that he was worried at the wrong time because he should have worried later on in their relationship. This guy she's dating thinks that he's had all of her, but he's never had all of me. Girl, you're crazy. What is wrong with you? So that's like my opinion on that. But that's all I really have to say for now. I'll see you guys tomorrow maybe. Isabella is coming over tomorrow. My best friend's coming over tomorrow and we're going to watch People We Meet on Vacation and have like a little watch party, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm very excited. So I didn't reread it. I was going to reread it prior to it coming out and then I forgot, and then I was like, wow, that came really fast and I don't have time to reread it. So I think I'll watch the movie and then eventually reread it and see kind of how it compares. So hi guys, and happy Saturday. I have some reading updates as to where I'm at. So let's get right into my progress that I've made. So yesterday I was actually able to get quite a bit of reading done, and I got to page 176 of Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. I was reading the ebook on my phone, so I got through most of it that way. I believe I'm around halfway through this. I will say I am enjoying the story so far. I really enjoy the writing. I've been highlighting a lot on the ebook. I think it's a very unique, vivid writing style with very beautiful prose. I definitely don't think that this is super scary. It is a YA, like, psychological horror. So far, I'm not super spooked. The only thing, there are some drawings in here that are a little creepy to me. So I don't think it's a book that I would read like at night personally because I get scared easily. And when those drawings popped up, I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I'm not reading this at night. See that our main characters, well, you're following our main character, Andrew, and his point of view, but I think Thomas is another character that is pivotal to the story. They are at this boarding school called Wickwood Academy. They're in this very lush, forested area. Andrew writes creepy little fairy tales. They're pretty short, and Thomas is an artist and then draws or takes inspiration from these stories and creates these monster-esque characters. You see that there is an investigation going on surrounding Thomas and his parents, and Thomas is a suspect in their disappearance, potentially death, and you see how that is slowly starting to create some tension between the two boys. They are, best friends, and including Andrew's twin sister Dove are like the three musketeers. And so you slowly start to realize that Another reason for this rift that is coming in between them is because Andrew thinks that Thomas is hiding something. He's lying about stuff, and you realize that he's actually lying, or at least hiding, the fact that these creatures that he draws are now coming to life, and they're in the forest, and if Thomas doesn't go out and try to take care of them every night, like take care as in like kill them, then they will come into the school and start hurting people. So Andrew is deciding that he is going to help, but things are, a little creepy. Interesting, I think. So I really would like to sit down and maybe read the rest of this. I have like maybe 150 pages left, so it would be great if I could get through the rest of this. Thursday, I did get to page 172 of The Light We Lost. Guys, there is something seriously wrong with this main character. She has actual issues, and I already know where this, she's setting this story up to go. It's crazy the way that she is slowly setting up what she's about to do, or the justifications to what she's about to do. I don't think I'm going to be rating that very highly. So my mom, it doesn't like the main female character either, because that is the book I'm buddy reading with her. And yesterday-ish, very, very briefly, started listening to the audiobook of Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a book that I've had on my TBR since November, my physical TBR since November. So I really want to start working through my TBR and my physical TBR, the books I have that I haven't read. So I saw that this was available through the library. And within this, it's very Greek mythology centered. You're just following Circe in her life, and I don't really know a ton about Greek mythology. I am watching the second season of Percy Jackson as I am reading this. So I am seeing some, similar characters, and which is making you a little bit more familiar with what's going on. But so far, I'm enjoying the story. I think it's quite interesting. I'm on page 128. Even though I'm listening, that's like where I'm at progress-wise. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I have also read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which is another book that's inspired by Greek mythology. And I haven't read that book in a while, but I am liking this one so far. I think the writing is quite nice, and I'm really interested in learning more about Circe's story. I feel like I have a lot left. And I think I have seen some people say that not a ton. This isn't like a super action-packed book. If I'm not mistaken, it's more so, you're just following her life. So I'm interested. I don't know a ton, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. This will be my last day filming this video, so I do want to see what I can get done today. I'm hoping to finish this. So I think I'm going to sit down and continue this, see how it ends. I'm interested. I have some predictions. I don't know if they're correct, but I am interested to see if they are, how close I am. So I will see you guys probably in my reading chair in like a couple minutes. Hi everybody, it is Sunday. I wanted to pop in, give one final update, and then kind of close off this video. So yesterday I read a lot, and I was really into Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, and I was able to actually finish this. I finished it last night at like 9:30. I ended up, I think, going to give this a 3.75 stars. I will say I really did enjoy the writing. I thought that the author did a great job of making it feel eerie and unsettling while also painting a very vivid picture of what the characters were going through. You really do feel like the forest is alive and crawling, and I liked the prose. I liked the way that things were described overall. I just thought, great writing style. I would definitely read more works from this author. I will say within the storyline though, it is a YA psychological horror. I've read one other like horror book that I didn't really realize was horror until after I read it, and that was Such Sharp Teeth. I'll put a picture on the screen. In that book, it also has body horror, which I think is like mostly what this book is. There is a lot of like body horror, but To me, as someone that does not read horror, I don't necessarily, like, I am almost shocked that it's like considered horror because I don't find it that scary. And more so within that, it's like you are just kind of losing your sanity, and then you feel like at least with this character, I don't want to spoil it, but he feels like Forrest is growing inside of him. So you deal with a lot of like depictions of what that feels like and vines growing inside of him. And so it's definitely like unsettling a little bit, not really. I mean, some of it was, but other things I was like, okay, this is just like interesting to read about. What, like, I don't know if I read like an actual like horror novel, if I would be scared by it. Like I just don't have that like caliber of knowledge or that, you know, arsenal of knowledge to really have a comparison of if I'm supposed to be scared, if I'm supposed to be unsettled, or if it's just supposed to be a scary story, but I'm not actually feeling scared. So I don't know. And I don't really like have an interest in reading like actual horror books. This I think was great for me, like dipping my toes in something that's like in my realm of like comfortability, but also being a little bit horror. So I don't know. I will say though, the reason why I gave it a 3.75 was I enjoyed it. I liked the writing, thought the story was interesting. I didn't really know where it was going to go, which, you know, was fine. But as someone who has read The Raven Boys and loves that series so much, one of my favorite series ever, I just found there to be a lot of similarities between the characters and some of those storylines. And if you're reading, you know, this book and if you read The Raven Boys, I saw a lot of similarities between Andrew and Adam, and then Thomas and Ronan, their characteristics and like, you know, their personality traits, each boy's tie to the forest and how that's kind of shown, and the similarities between how, you know, in the Raven Boys you see that play out. Same thing with like their relationship. I saw a lot of similarities between that book and this book. Also, you know, The Raven Boys takes place in Virginia. At the end, it's revealed this also takes place in Virginia. So personally, I found a lot of similarities. And granted, I love those characters. I love that book or that series, but very, very similar. Overall, enjoyed it. Would definitely read other works by this author. Yeah, so within this video, I was able to finish one book that had already started, start 3 other books and finish them. And then I also continued reading The Light We Lost and started reading Circe as well. So I would say it's a pretty successful week for me. I had a great time and I look forward to finishing Circe, seeing more about that. I don't really look forward to finishing, well, I am excited to finish The Light We Lost, purely for the fact that they're crazy and I want to be done reading about their thoughts. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!